When traveling where few people go, solitude becomes the reward. Join us as we explore the largest province in the country. We discovered boundless skies and vast untouched landscapes. We experienced remarkable wide open spaces. The Northern Cape is where we found what we were looking for. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. There are over 580,000 kilometers of gravel roads in South Africa. More than 23,000 kilometers of those traverse the Northern Cape province. That's half the circumference of the Earth. One of the many reasons to explore this corner of our country.
The reason why we take these journeys and the reason why we've specifically come to the Northern Cape of South Africa is for landscapes exactly like this. Now you can leave Cape Town and you can go to the Namibian border. It's 700 kilometers along the N7 highway. But there's so much you're missing. There's so much out there. You can enter the gravel pretty much from the Cederberg right the way through Cederberg into the Northern Cape and take all the back roads through Lelyfontein, through Gemoep, to Springbok and not have touched any tar. It might take you 3 or 4 days longer, but you will get to experience these incredible landscapes that we're driving through right now. So the question, of course, is what kind of driver are you? Are you the kind of driver that would go from Cape Town to the Namibian border at Fieldsdrift on the N7? Or would you take 3 or 4 days through the backcountry roads and experience landscapes like what we're standing in right now?
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We are standing in the very remote and vast Verneukpan, our first visit to this incredible location. You really can't see anything for miles and miles and miles. We are super excited to bring to you Season 7, which is the Northern Cape and the Green Kalahari. It's been a very, very eventful filming trip for us in terms of the fact that we've had to shoot it in 2 parts because we had major vehicle issues towards the end of the first section of our filming journey. So Craig, I don't know if you'd like to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yes, so it was usually what we'd do is we'd go away for an entire month and we'd shoot an entire season. That was our intention in April, so the beginning of this year. And we went away into the Northern Cape and into the stunning, stunning green Kalahari. Of course, there was still a bit of rain around in April, as there is in these areas. But sort of halfway through, we got hit by a massive storm. Now, you would have already seen this episode on We Broke Our Jimny, the breakdowns, is because it was a storm and it was 162 kilometers of thick mud that caused our gearbox to give issues. And we broke down and we had to abandon the trip. And we've taken a 2-month break. The Jimny's all fixed, everything's back together again, and it's now mid-July and we've headed right back up into the Northern Cape to continue filming the series. The green Kalahari is now a little bit more of the brown Kalahari, but that stuff has already been done right across over near Grabie's Falls and right up to Van Zyls Rust. We pretty much started the July version of it right back where we left off at Witsundt Nature Reserve, deep in the Northern Cape. And it was absolutely spectacular. We've had beautiful sunshine every single day. There's been no rain. The roads have been quite messed up in places, obviously from all the flooding in April and May, but in general they've been relatively good. And we've got some fantastic imagery that we've shot in Witsundt and Makolo National Park, which we didn't even know about. It's really been an absolutely fantastic second half and first half. The first half was more dramatic, second half has been absolutely seamless. So we've had incredibly diverse landscapes, from the greenery of the Kalahari and the red sand dunes of the Kalahari to these massive open spaces of the Northern Cape. I mean, most of the province is completely flat. The other thing that the Northern Cape has is the entire green belt that runs all the way along the Orange River. This area is massive in agriculture, and it's the breadbasket of the entire Northern Cape. let's not forget the Northern Cape also has Namakwa land and the entire flower region, which right now in mid-July, it's usually August, but right now in mid-July, the flower season is in full bloom. So you've got the incredible flower area, you've got the Richtersveld, you've got these massive open pans in the center of the Northern Cape, and then you've got the Orange River Greenbelt running all the way up to Agrabi's Falls. It is just the most amazing province to travel in, and there's very, very few people. So join us in this series as we discover the incredible green landscapes of Agrabi's Falls area, the green Kalahari, these stunning open areas in the center of the Northern Cape. So we're back at Go Camp in Cape Town. We are having a roof tent fitted for this particular trip. We've decided to do some camping, obviously, because a lot of you guys in the audience, specifically in the overlanding industry, prefer camping. So usually we do self-catering, purely because the amount of equipment we've got. But we're going to do this entire trip now with a roof tent, pretty much similar to what we did in the flower season. So we're going to get them to fit the roof tent on. This time they're going to shift it a little bit forwards, so that I've still got space for a crate and the jerry can at the back. So of course the question has been answered now whether or not we could fit on the roof tent a little bit more forward and still have our crates at the back and a double jerry can holder. The answer is not really. There's not enough space behind the tent to put a double jerry can holder, and the single jerry can holder of course doesn't mount sideways. So our option is basically just put a soft duffel bag on the back, and I'll just tie on 1 or 2 10-litre plastic fuel cans onto the roof. That's all we can do. I was in 2 minds whether to use the folding front runner roof tent or one of the Alucab hard shell roof tents. The problem with the hard shell is it eliminates the entire roof, so you can't really have any crates or fuel cans or anything extra. So we went for the folding tent. It's a bit more of a mission, but at least gives us that little bit of space on the roof. So I bought a couple of extras that are going to certainly help with space on this trip. One, we've got this a spare wheel bag as well, which has got pretty much all our braai stuff in. Usually that would be on a crate on the roof. So I've got an extra ground tent as well. We've got our huge big lone rider, actually it's a motorcycle tent. It's big enough to park a motorcycle inside as well. So you've got all that workspace rather than a small little dome tent. And the reason why I've got 2 tents with us is that, you know, there's times where we want to park for maybe 2 days and actually go out and do drives during the day and come back. Now with a roof tent, of course you can't do that because you've got to pack the whole roof tent away and all your camping stuff. So for those kind of days, we've got a ground tent where we can store a lot of our stuff inside there. Chairs, tables, all our cooking stuff can stay inside the ground tent while we then drive with a roof tent on and go and explore. Other days we'll pop up the roof tent for a single night stay. It's a lot quicker than the ground tent, of course. So we've got the best of both worlds.
Because our filming started in the Northern Cape, we took the fastest route up the N7, then turned off onto the gravel, taking us through Kliprunt and finishing at our first camping location at Platbakkies Farm Retreat, just inside the Northern Cape border, a distance of 456 kilometers.
I've just taken a little shortcut. We were going to go all the way to Bitterfontein, top up the fuel because we've just filled up in Van Reinsdorp. So instead of going all the way to Bitterfontein, topping up the fuel and then going into Kliprunt, it's quite a bit further. There's this little road I found now that goes directly to Kliprunt. So we're going to quickly deflate tires now, and I caught a glimpse of the road. It's a long, straight, beautifully scraped road, so it should save us quite a lot of time. And we won't be getting into the campsite at, like 5 in the afternoon. So hopefully it'll save us half an hour.
After a quick tire deflation, we hit the gravel road to Kliprunt. Signs of recent rains were still on the roads.
So the rooftop tent was pretty easy to set up. It's a standard front runner roof tent, the fold out type. In retrospect, yes, the pods are better because they're easier, but then you lose your entire roof. So I've said this before, it's better to have a tent that's not as easy to set up and pack away, but at least you've got the space on your roof for additional things like crates, and we've got our big ground tent as well on the roof, and we've got the 15-litre jerry can. So I wouldn't be able to fit that on the inside of the vehicle. So it's just as well we chose this particular tent. So we're going to be cooking a little bit this evening. Kirsten's going to tell us what she's going to be cooking. We're going to just keep it simple. We're not going to light a fire or start a braai or anything. Hello, Kirsten.
Hello.
And we're going to
just taking care of our drinks.
Oh yes, you're just taking care of our first drinks for the first episode.
So we're going to skip the braai tonight, and I'm just going to fry some pork boerewors, and I've got one of those sachets of prepped rice that I'm just going to heat up, and some fresh coriander.
Guess what we forgot at home?
Pillows.
Pillows. We're driving on the N7 and we're like, oh, we forgot the pillows. And the thing is that there's nowhere to buy pillows. Today's Monday, Easter Monday, it's a public holiday. So we shot into Clanwilliam, but we literally missed Pep Home by 15 minutes. They had just closed.
Yeah.
And we went to a couple of other places. But anyway, so we're going to make a roll-up blanket plan tonight. But it's just because we're not used to camping and not used to putting everything in. I put the sleeping bags in the other day, opened up the roof tent, put the fitted sheet on, put the sleeping bags in. But of course the roof tent doesn't close with the pillows in. So the pillows we have to put in afterwards. Anyway, we forgot our pillows, but tomorrow we'll get some in Springbok and we sorted for the rest of the trip. Right, good morning from morning number 2. We're on our second day now, and we've just, well, in fact, I'm still packing up. The roof tent's away, and I'm now busy loading stuff on the roof. And you know, it's there's always going to be a specific sequence. Now, if you've got a fully equipped rig that's already set up for camping with all the bells and whistles and all the drawers and everything that pull out, it's a lot easier than if you've got sort of a modular system like ours, where we use our car for normal driving and we take the seats out when we go camping or when we go traveling and pack everything in. Now, typically we don't camp, as you've been seeing in the rest of the series. We haven't done a lot of camping. We did in Etosha on one of our first trips, but it's simply a space thing, and it's just a lot easier to get up and get out early in the morning. You know, if we wanted to go for a very early morning drive to go and film something, the thing is that you've got to then pack the roof tent away, and you've got to pack everything away in the vehicle. Those circumstances, that's why things like a trailer are nice, because you can leave the trailer and you can go and drive your vehicle. And you know, we rented the roof tent, so that gets put on. I have to change the entire pack of the vehicle. As you know, from when you're packing a small car like a Jimny, everything has to have its place. Everything has to go in a very specific sequence so that it all fits in nice and neatly. I always like to be able to see out of the rearview mirror. I hate having stuff packed up that I can't see what's going on. For me, I must be able to see what's going on in the rearview mirror, because sometimes while I'm driving, I check the rearview mirror and I see this incredible shot, and I know immediately, stop, let's go back and shoot that. So for me, it's all about the visuals. I need to have space. So, you know, we've managed luckily to get a crate on the roof this time around. So let us know in the comment what your tips and tricks are for slick packing, you know, your minimalist story. Drop a comment down below. Let us know what your tips are for camping in a modular vehicle. I'm not talking about a fully equipped vehicle, something that you go away on weekends and you've got to pack everything very specifically. Let us know. Do you have crates? Do you have a drawer system? Let us know in the comments below.
So we successfully made it through our first night of camping. We haven't done this for quite a long time. It was a bit chilly and not hugely comfortable because of the lack of pillows, but we'll be sorting that out today. And the roof tent itself is quite spacious. I don't think I felt confined in any way, Craig. I don't think you did either.
No, it's very spacious. I mean, the mattress could be a little bit longer, as in my feet are hanging over the edge.
For you,
but again, yeah, once we've got the pillows sorted, I mean, last night we had our warm blanket rolled up as a pillow.
And that is why we were
a little bit cold, yeah. So tonight we'll have pillows and we'll have our warm blanket over the top of our sleeping bags. So I want to give you a little rundown of our route today. So we're in the back mountains, almost close to the Gemoop area. So we are Platbakkies Farm Retreat, which is up in the mountains about 16 kilometers or so from Kliprunt. Now, the reason why I put us here for the first night is that at Kliprunt you cross into the Northern Cape. So I wanted our first night camping to be in the actual Northern Cape itself. So today is quite a short route, about 190 kilometers or so. And we're going to go down a little bit in the mountains. We're going to go through Lelyfontein and then do a loop back up to the main R355. If you have a look here on the screen recording of the tablet, the green line is where we're going to be heading, down towards Lelyfontein. And then we're going to do a loop back up and come and join with the 355 again. That's the Gemup Road to Springbok. We are going into Springbok to do some shopping, to fill up with fuel, and various kinds of things like that, just to get some supplies and fuel and some pillows. And it's a beautiful, beautiful area for filming, so we're quite excited about that. Nice short day. I think the roads might have quite a lot of puddles and things on it. There has been quite a number of water crossings. You saw that first one, and there's a lot of road damage from big rains. They had 34 millimeters or something in one day. So let's see what the roads are like. It should be fun.
There was evidence of flood damage everywhere, and most of the small riverbeds had tons of sand washed onto the roads. Fortunately, the road scrapers had cleared most of the sand in the riverbeds. The wind was unfortunately too strong to fly my drone over the settlement of Lelyfontein. Lelyfontein was established in 1816 by the English missionary Barnabas Shaw. It was built on the farm granted to the Namakwa people by the Dutch governor Craig Fugard-Marshall. It was likely named for its local white lilies. The site is known for the 1902 Lelyfontein massacre during the Second Boer War. Later, in 1966 to 2016, it served as a major South African Defence Force helicopter and armoured tank battalion base and headquarters. Another small settlement we passed through was Klein Noordrivier. Fortunately, the wind had dropped enough to get my drone airborne and track us as we passed through this tiny Namakwaland hamlet. The landscape in these back roads of the Namakwaland were breathtaking. On both the Tracks4Africa trip planner and the guide app, you can toggle on the icons for attractions and points of interest, then click on the icon to reveal the point of interest. Just after Rooifontein, we found a stunning quiver tree forest, and it was worth sending the drone to investigate. We arrived at Gouwgap Nature Reserve with only half an hour to spare. Unfortunately, they closed at 4 p.m, which was an issue for us because we still had to go to Springbok for supplies and pillows. We needed to eat as well, so we would have to skip the nature reserve unfortunately and spend the night at the Springbok Caravan Park. It's nothing to write home about, but they do have some basic chalets, and we thought this might be an easy option for an overnight stay, given that we would be arriving after dark. Join us again in the next episode as we travel on desolate backroads close to the Namibian border to Klein Pela, and further to Aggrabies Falls National Park in full flood season.